Hey, from my studio, I was asked by a neighbor what tools she should get to start out with for jewelry. So I thought I'd point out just 5 essential tools that you might need. So my first tool or tools, because it comes in a set, get yourself a set of pliers. Now this is like numerous sets of pliers sitting here on this bench. Normally they come in a pack of 5 or 6 pliers. So you can splurge on cheap pliers. They actually work really well. If you notice, these don't have teeth. So normally the sets come with a guy like this, little flat rounded guy. See that it doesn't have teeth. It will come with a round bending set. It will come with a set of cutters. And one of these guys, kind of a needle nose, curled, again, toothless. So make sure they are jewelry pliers. The beadsmith pliers are probably the most popular that I've seen on Amazon and at Michael's or whatever that you can purchase. Those work just fine. The only thing I would ever spend extra money on is a pair of shear cutters. So these did not come in a set. I did see sets at Michael's the other day that had the shear cutters in them. Get a set like that if you can find it. But that is the only thing I have found that I needed to spend extra money on. So cheap set of pliers and a pair of shear cutters if you can afford it afterwards. The next tool, and this needs to go back in the garage, the next tool, hammer. Ball ping hammer. So you don't need 4 or 5 different weights of hammers. Just one ball ping hammer would do right up front. I think I got this one at a garage sale for like $3. So now that I've been doing this for a little while, I've got an assortment of different hammers, all sorts of different hammers, and little mark making hammers. Save all that for later. Invest in a ball ping hammer. If you wish to, the second hammer to get would be one of these leather guys. So if you, these are like $20 bucks, $25. So this is for working soft metals when they're annealed, heated, but ball ping hammer. So number 1, set of pliers. Number 2, ball ping hammer. The third investment or tool that I would get is a Dremel or a rotary tool. So this is the Dremel that I think I started out with. It's a decent Dremel, has variable speeds. This is $60, $70. This is the Harbor Freight Dremel. Honestly, if you're going to spend the money, I would go with a Fordham, and I'll show you what that is here in a minute. It is also a rotary tool, but if you can't afford it, go with the Harbor Freight $20 or Amazon purchase rotary tool, 20 bucks. Sometimes they come with little tools, great. But these things, the speed variable works actually pretty decent on them. They're just a little chunkier, a little heavier. The little metal doodads for the motor tend to wear out pretty easily, and I think it's here on the top. They usually come with an extra set. So if you're going to be spending the money on a Dremel, I would actually suggest doing some shopping on Amazon and getting one of these. This is a Fordham. So a Fordham is a rotary tool. And you don't really have to hang it. I just hang it because it's close to where I want it to go. It has a handheld piece. And then it has a foot pedal. My foot pedal's down here. Foot pedal for speed control. This thing has reverse, which is very handy. Saves a ton of time when changing out the heads on different pieces, different sanding units. This is Harbor Freight's Dremel or a rotary tool, Fordham. This also has a handheld piece. If you go through, you can see, actually, I do reviews on the Rotary Tools. This does not have reverse. The foot pedal hardly controls the speed. I think these are $50. Definitely step it up. Spend an extra $20. Get the Amazon Fordham. So, rotary tool, pliers, hammer, torch. Torch. So, I use propane. Don't feel like, if you are new to jewelry, this is probably one of the worst investments you can get. This is a Smith mini torch. And I've been doing jewelry now for 8 years, 9 years. Sorry, I can't do this one-handed. It's really hard. These are the Smith mini torches. Honestly, I've never set this up. Unless if I'm doing really fine work, fine detailed work with gold, I probably won't set this up. I might at some point just to see how it works, and to have it as an option here in the studio. But for now, though, I have not needed anything more than my propane torches. So, don't get suckered into getting one of the Smith torches, especially when you're new. If you choose, and if the only option for you is to go to Lowe's to get one of these, they're $15. Use MAP gas. Currently, I'm using propane. The difference is the MAP gas burns a little hotter, the propane burns a little cooler. So when you're working on annealing, which is heating the metal to be able to form it, this takes forever. Now, if you look, see the size difference? How much bigger this older one is? So these older ones you can find on eBay. You can probably find them on Facebook Marketplace. Sometimes you can find them in a set. So mine was found an old Benzomatic set that came with a bunch of different little tip heads, flare head, soldering head, little striker. I mean, how cool is that? And it came with a torch, and I think I paid $15 for that. So for the same cost, I got this head, which works 1,000 times better than that. This is the one that I use consistently. This is my grandfather's. They're identical. They're Benzomatics. I'm just used to the way that the flame propels on that one. And it was free. It was a hand-me-down. So, pliers, hammer, rotary tool, torch, that's 4. Ooh, what was my last tool? Pliers. Oh, yeah, a little anvil or a chunk of steel. So get yourself something to hammer something on. Something to hammer something on. And then my 6th, actually, I lied. I'm going to add on a 6th item. This is the cheapy anvil, 15-pound anvil from Harbor Freight. So these actually work quite well. The only bummer is there's no way of mounting them, so I actually welded a plate onto the bottom of mine so I could mount it onto something else to clamp it onto it, so it would be firm. The 6th necessary item would be getting, and this is soapstone, and actually for a while I was putting pieces together directly onto soapstone on this side of the studio and had only a kiln shelf on that side. But something to heat your pieces on. So these things here, you'll see these all the time. These work okay. This is a stand. It keeps all your pieces up off the ground. I hate this mesh. This mesh actually really sucks. It's a really thick, chunky mesh. I hardly ever use that. This is a really thin mesh that I got from a jeweler, and I just put it on 2 pieces of broken kiln shelving. So if you go to a place that does ceramics or a kiln, even look on Facebook Marketplace, people, and look for kiln furniture. You will be able to find the shelves and the stands. The stands are these square, I don't think I have any here in this building, but they're square little chunks. They're fireproof. They heat, you can heat these up to like 3,000 degrees without a problem. I just put mine on a brick to separate it from the bench, and that is enough space to allow the heat to not soak through. And I've even used oxygen acetylene on these kiln shelves, and the heat still does not penetrate through to the shelf. It will penetrate the bottom, like don't go grabbing it with your hand. But, so those are my 5 top pick items. You have your pliers, your hammer, rotary tool, that's 3, torch, 4, and something to hit your stuff on, 5. And then pick up a block or a brick or a soapstone or something to heat your pieces on. And then keep an eye out for a kiln shelf, because a kiln shelf, again, it gives you a ton of space. You know, those fire bricks is what they sell at jeweler stores. They're usually pretty small. They're brittle. They get really brittle after you know, use the torch on them after a while. This does not get brittle. These are hard. They stay hard. Every now and then you just have to clean them off. They are fantastic to use for jewelry, and it gives you a decent desk surface. So those are my top picks.